Alrighty, Miles. Hope you're having a good day, buddy. Wanted to get this video over to you just to compare your mechanics to Mike Trout's mechanics, who's a really, really good baseball player in Major League Baseball. So I wanted to get to show your mechanics comparatively to his, and then from there, we're kind of going to go over what are some things that we talked about in our last lesson and kind of what we're trying to look for going forward. So here we go. So, a couple big things. We're going to start like we talked about, Miles, yesterday. When you're building a house, especially, we kind of use the game Minecraft as a really, really good example of this. We start with the walls, right, when we're building. So we're going to start with our bottom half, okay? This is the first thing that we talked about with your bottom half, right? I actually really, really like your setup position. When we go to right here, I'm actually okay with this setup position. Now, this is kind of in the middle of your swing when you're picking up your foot. But the reason why we don't want to go back like this, right? What we talked about yesterday is that there's not much power that can be built, right? You're just standing straight up. You could stay there all day long, right? Versus if you see Mike Trout, and we go back to what we talked about yesterday with this little 45-degree angle here, we have to go directly down, right? We have to go directly towards the baseball. So what that helps us with is trying to work directly through the pitcher, taking it right back up the middle, creating power in our swing, right? We want to try to build power as we go, not go back, then try to build power, if that makes sense. So that's one of the big things that we worked on with this. The other thing that I want to show you that we kind of worked on towards the very end is watch what happens with this knee, right? So this is right here, about the center of our body, okay? So what we should be doing is if we look at Mike Trout down here, right? Let's look at his finish position. Right there is right in the center of his body. He is right smack dab center. Now let's take a look at your swing. As we could see, we passed this red line and we are really, really front heavy, right? It's good that our backside is moving, right? We want to try and keep this back foot on the ground, right, as best as possible because we kind of, before we even get to contact, we lift up like that, right? So we're losing some sort of power there. But if you notice with Mike Trout's leg, take a look at what his leg does. Let me clear everything real quick. So if you notice what his leg does is it's bent and then straightens up, right? Versus ours, we land and then we go kind of limp on this front knee, right? So what happens is that I just want to show you something. So here is your eyesight here, okay? Your starting eyesight. This is your finish eyesight, right? So there's a drop in that, right? So we see the pitch a little bit differently, right? Versus if you look at Mike Trout's here, he stays relatively the same way through. Now, he does start a little bit taller, and then he gets into his stride, but he's seeing it the whole way through, right? He's keeping himself on plane rather than a sudden jolt, right? Everything is very smooth all the way through, right? So the biggest things that we worked on was trying to limit this leg kick, right? Or even so starting a little bit more spread out in your mechanics. And that has helped us in our lesson yesterday where we were actually able to start going towards the pitcher and get more power, right? Now, if you see this, take a look at what your hands do right here, Miles. What you're going to see is that here, and then there's this right there, a flick, right? There's a flick versus Mike Trout's. Take a look at his wrists. He keeps firm the whole way through, right? And what that does, Miles, is that helps us with our power, right? That helps us work through the baseball, but it also keeps power. As soon as we flick our wrist, we lose power, right? It's almost like if you're throwing a Frisbee, right? What you're trying to do is keep the whole way through, right? Actually, a better example is golf, really. Whenever we're swinging the golf club, we want to keep our wrists firm through, just like this, right? Versus whenever we break our wrist, what happens is either we don't have as much power in our swing or we shank the ball, okay? So those are two things that we're going to continue to work on with at least your mechanics, right? And it's also about trying to keep our wrist firm And instead of lunging into our swing, right, we want to, as we see with Mike Trout right here, connect to extension, right? Versus us, we lead through right here with this elbow, which causes, and this is the big reason why you flick, is because right now your body is saying, hey, Miles, this is where our bat is. I am not on plane, right? I'm going to be late to this baseball. So in order to overcorrect myself, I have to flick in order, you could just see it in this frame where we flick like this, right? Right here to here, right? We flick to get back on plane. What happens a lot more times than not is we actually overcorrect ourselves and then we're hitting to the left side, right? So those are the big things that we're going to continue to work on in our lessons, Miles, and what we're going to continue to work towards, right? I wanted to have this video for you that you can always look back on and that you can continue to look to whenever you're trying to see, number one, where your swing has progressed, but also what are the big key fundamentals with that, okay? So really good job in your lesson, Miles. I'm looking forward to working with you more, and have a great rest of your weekend.